DC Multiverse!
Good day one and all. Today we have a 4-figure action figure review video for you. Today we're going to be reviewing the Kryptonite Doomsday, Starfire, Ambush Bug, and Captain Boomerang. The first of which will be the Kryptonite Doomsday from Superman Batman issues 47 and 48. The figure itself is huge and is an actual reuse of most of the pre-existing Doomsday figure, except this one has a brand new gnarly looking green-teethed head sculpt. The paint on mine looks pretty cool, no real complaints about how well this thing turned out, and the mouth opens and closes too. That's a nice little added feature. This figure also comes with a trading card, and this trading card, like all the rest, has a data file on the back, which I'm going to read because I'm sure that a lot of you folks at home are not familiar with who the Kryptonite Doomsday is. Real name, Joshua Walker. Once a simple Kansas farm boy, Joshua Walker wanted nothing more than to make his parents proud and serve his country. Knowing service meant sacrifice, Walker volunteered for Amanda Waller's Last Line experimental program. Using kryptonite as a bonding agent, Joshua's DNA was intertwined with Doomsday's, mutating him into an unstoppable monster. Dubbed the All-American Boy, Walker's sole purpose became subduing Superman and, if necessary, killing the Man of Steel. But yeah, the figure is basically the exact same previous Doomsday figure. Here's an image of them side by side. We can see there is really no real difference. Same shorts, same boots, same gnarly sculpted body proportions. The only part of this Doomsday that they didn't actually make green, because technically every single spike of the Kryptonite Doomsday is supposed to be made out of kryptonite. With this one, it's only the pieces of kryptonite that come out of his body that were separate pieces. So the ones on his knuckles, forearms, shoulders, and just below his knees that are green. All the rest, like the chest, the shoulders, all the little spikes on his back, well, they're all the regular color because they're part of the full sculpt of the action figure, the original sculpt of the body. Just quickly, for those of you who don't know, this figure is fairly well articulated, but definitely has its areas where it could be articulated better. We can see that it's very challenging to get his arms to crunch up to even this. We have the shoulders that go up only so far because of the spikes that he's got on his shoulders. He does have articulation, ample articulation in the torso, which is nice. He does have articulation in the groin by way of the patent McFarlane groin. He has some articulation, not very much in the way of what you would call a thigh swivel. He does have pretty good articulation from the groin, though. Would have been nice to put the thigh swivel right here at the top of the shorts. Of course, single jointed knees, and that is really all you're going to get out of him. And he's got the big hinge right here in the ankle that is also a pivot, and no toe articulation. And of course the head also is articulated. Don't expect much from it. It's, you know, got a lot of that hard plastic hair in the way. Not a bad looking figure and a pretty darn good piece of shelf fodder. And now on to Ambush Bug, one of the lesser known characters of the DC universe, who comes with a trading card, an interchangeable fist, and Cheeks, the toy wonder. Cheeks is a baby doll that he found, and he made a costume for it and turned Cheeks into his sidekick. The trading card has an interesting picture of Ambush Bug on the front, same as the back of the box, well, as is for all McFarlane Multiverse figures, and a data file. And I'm going to read this one too, because I'm sure a lot of you have no idea who this character is. Erwin Schwab is deeply delusional, morally ambiguous, and obsessed with superheroes. As Ambush Bug, he sought to join their rare field society in a bodysuit that he claims fell to Earth from the planet Schwab. Harassing superheroes, including Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Cobra, he displayed the abilities of teleporting and healing from any injury. Failing as a villain, And faring no better as a hero, he briefly found his niche as a measure of stability as a bug superhero field correspondent for Channel 52 News. He still maintains that he has cosmic awareness and that reality is merely comic books being read by extra-dimensional superior beings. And that really is his shtick. The inclusion of Baby Doll is actually really interesting. They didn't have to include this. It doesn't do much, it just hangs there, but still, it's something. It's an accessory. And this figure uses the exact same body. 100% the same body as multiple figures. This is basically the Superman body buck from Project Superman. The only thing of any real difference here is the head sculpt. And the head sculpt is really awesome. I really like this so much. They've done a perfect job capturing the facial features and the look of Ambush Bug. I have absolutely zero complaints here. This is perfect. We know what this body buck can do because we've seen it before. I'll just crunch it up just a little bit to show you exactly what we can get from it, but you know we've seen it before in multiple videos. Just tie him in a knot here. There we go. And next, let's look at the McFarlane Collector's Edition, Starfire. It's about time we got another female to add to the ranks. Starfire, as you can see, comes with a flight base, 2 light green energy accessories, and the trading card that comes on the base. An alien princess in exile, Coriander of Tamaran escaped a lifetime of brutality as a slave and lab rat for the Citadel and the Scions. Years after manifesting incredible energy powers, she led a revolt and escaped to Earth. An engine of righteous fury, she fights to ensure that no other beings have to endure the pain and indignity that ruined her life. Yeah, so that's the data file. These green energy bursts look pretty cool up close. They look hot. They look fiery. Her hands just fit in the inside of these. Like so. And as for the figure, Starfire looks immaculate. She looks so good. Her waist area here is a newly sculpted piece because you can see that they sculpted these circles onto her suit. Her chest area is also a newly sculpted piece because you can see they sculpted the medallion onto her chest. That's not to say there isn't quite a bit of reuse with the legs and the arms and the midriff. Of course, her facial sculpt, well, that's newly sculpted as well. That's not reused from anywhere. And look at all that hair. Look at Coriander's hair, there's so much of it. And back to the face sculpt, everything is neat and tidy and looks exactly like it's supposed to. The paint is neatly done on her face. The deco looks fantastic. As for the comparison, I've got her here next to the DC Multiverse version and the DC Universe Classics. I've also got her with the DC Collectibles New 52 version of Starfire and the little tiny cute Funko version of a classic Starfire. And I wonder how posable she is. That torso, what do we get in the torso? Well, that's pretty good. The waist, 360 swivel. The head sculpt can look down quite a bit. Obviously, if you want to get into a flight pose, having her head go back is going to be very challenging on account of the fact that she's got all that meaty hair in the way. It is on a ball peg and it does move every other way quite well, just not back. Shoulders, we get a good T pose, we have a bicep swivel, we have double jointed elbows, we have this great big rounded hinge in the wrist that articulates quite well. We have the McFarlane style groin down there. I'm going to check it. How does it? It doesn't. That is a disappointment. I really don't like it that they don't turn. Oh, I really want that thigh cut. I really need that kind of motion with my figures. Then we have the double jointed knees. We have the shaped rounded hinge down here in the ankle that is also a pivot with the toe. And now for our final figure, why don't we have a look at the McFarlane Collector's Edition Captain Boomerang. This dude is one that I was actually pretty excited for because Captain Boomerang doesn't get a lot of figures made of him. As you can see previously, we've only really gotten the DC Universe Classics version as well as the New 52. those are really the only two trench coat versions of Captain Boomerang that we've received. This bad boy comes with 3 sets of hands, 2 boomerangs, and of course the trading card on the base. Here's the trading card up close, same image as the back of the box, and here we have the back with that data file bio, George Digger Harkness. Feel free to pause to read this if you want to know the rest of the data file. Other than that, we're going to move on. Here is the boomerang up close. You can see it's got a little indent in the middle of it there. That makes it easier for him to actually hold the boomerang. His hand just kind of fits inside that little indent there. The figure itself is pretty cool. For one, you have your cloth goods scarf, and you also have a fabric jacket. Now the jacket is actually pretty darn good. It's pretty cool. I do wish, though, this is a missed opportunity for wires. It would have been cooler if there was wires running down the sides of this and the bottom to make the jacket posable. So you have a jacket that he's wearing, which is cool, but you can't really do much with it. It just kind of hangs there. But it is cool, and it is a nice fabric. It is like a nice kind of fake pleather. I do like that very much. For a mass-produced jacket that's supposed to go on an action figure, I do think they did a pretty good job with the stitch work, the seam work. Yeah, no real complaints. I just wish it had a wire. Same thing right here with the scarf. The scarf is cool, but I do wish that the scarf had a wire in it too, so that it could be properly posed around his neck and off to the side and things like that. But I do like the fact that it is fabric. That is kind of cool. And for those of you wondering if the jacket is the same as Bane's, the answer is no. It definitely has some similarities, but Bane's collar and the rim of his jacket actually goes out farther. You can actually see the length of that in comparison to Captain Boomerang. They are not the same length. This one's actually smaller. That's not to say they didn't use some of the same pattern. You know, they probably modified the pattern to make Captain Boomerang's jacket. I do like Captain Boomerang's color scheme as well. The lighter blue on top of the darker blue pants. You have the black belt, the dark blue gloves, and his head sculpt isn't too, well, it's probably, it's okay. It's okay. It's honestly, when I think of this version of Captain Boomerang, this is not what I think of. I don't think of great big mutton chops that connect up there. I know he's looked like this at times, but gotta say, this is more what I think of. I think of a face sculpt more like what DC Universe Classics did. Oh, and for those of you that have this figure, be careful. I barely even touched it, and his leg just snapped off. I think the plastic is going brittle, so if you have this figure, just be careful handling it. As for his articulation, it's gonna be probably pretty good. That's all right. Round and round, not bad. I mean, he has the same articulation points as every DC Multiverse figure, like ever. Ooh, look at that though. When you bend that articulation, it's got a bucket tummy. You can see that there. That's looks like a mouth. Look, he's got 2 eyes and a mouth there. Looks like some kind of weird fish or something. Waist going all the way around like that. You've got his groin here. What does this do? What does it do? Well, that's okay. Could be a lot better, but could be worse. I say that a lot with McFarlane's, action figures groins, and that's because that's the truth. Could be worse, and it could be better. We have double jointed knees that crunch up better than single jointies, and we have the ankle, the sculpted shaped rounded hinge ankle that obviously has a pivot and has the little piece of toe articulation. And he's also got head articulation on the rounded ball peg. That's all right. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So what do I think about all 4 of these figures? Well, I'd have to say that my favorite out of all of these figures is in between Starfire and Kryptonite Doomsday. I definitely like Ambush Bug, because Ambush Bug is just a fun character, and I really like Captain Boomerang. It would be a hard choice if I was to say which one is my very favorite, because I actually really do like Captain Boomerang a lot too. These are 4 really great figures, and I don't know, I like them all evenly. Anyway, that's all the time I have for today, so thank you so much for tuning in and watching this, and I will see you with the next one. Have a DC day, everybody, and take care.